Hey everybody, this is Dan Phelps of Learning to Smoke, and today I'm going to be bringing you Queso Fundido, also known as Queso, I'm going to butcher the way you say it, Flameado. Queso Fundido is the party dip you didn't know that you needed. The great thing about this dip is that it only takes 2 ingredients. We'll go over those here in the video. But before we get into the intro, make sure to like and subscribe, even leave comments too if you like what you see. But also let me know if there's anything you want to see me cook in the future. Now let's get our Queso Fundido on. Does anyone say that? I did. I may delete that. First things first, let's fire up the grill. I'm going to use my Weber kettle. I'm going to fire up some charcoal first. So let me get my chimney starter here, and I'll put in my coals, and I'll just dump all those in. And as I do that, I'm going to get the fire started underneath. And let me move that basket away, and I'll show you what I'm going to do here. I've got some fire starters. You can also use newspaper. You can even rip off some of the bag that the charcoal came in and use that to start your fire. But I'm going to use these fire starters, and why use a match when you can use a torch to light them up? So I'll put my chimney full of the charcoal briquettes on there and let that fire up for probably takes about 20 minutes or so. Want them to ash over a little bit on the top, as you can see there. And I'll take these briquettes and I'll make sure to put them in the grill there. Got to remove the grill grates on top. And then we'll put the coals there in the bottom. Now keep in mind these coals are going to be super hot, so you want to try and spread them out evenly before you put the grill grates back on top there. Now it's time to bring out the cast iron skillet, and I'm going to put some avocado oil in there, so that way when I put the chorizo on, it's not going to stick. And so this chorizo, I'm actually using a full tray of it, so 16 ounces. And I'm going to break it up, but I've got an easier way of doing that. I've got a special tool I like to use. I'll put a link in the description for it. It's pretty rad, but it helps break your meat up a lot quicker. Side note, when you're using your phone to film too close to the heat, this happens. Yep. So here's what I do. I put it in the freezer, and I throw it in the ice, and I let it stay there for a few minutes to cool it down a lot quicker, so I don't have to wait too long. Overall, I probably had this in the freezer for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then it was back to normal. Yay! Now I can get back to filming, but first, let's talk about Oaxaca cheese. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, hey Dan, what is Oaxaca cheese? How do you spell that? What's it all about? That's Oaxaca cheese right there. And that's how you spell it, because I remember hearing about Oaxaca cheese and I had no clue how to spell it and what I was looking for. Because to me, that doesn't look like how it's spelled, but that's just the gringo me talking there. Oaxaca cheese is a cheese from Mexico. It's a melty cheese. I really like it. Looks like a clump like that. And so what we're going to do is break it up into little clumps and throw it into the skillet. And if you don't have Oaxaca cheese, you can use other cheeses like asadero or queso fresco. Or you can use cheeses more common in the United States, such as mozzarella or Monterey Jack. I'm going to take that ball of Oaxaca cheese, I'm going to break it up, and I'm going to put it in there in little pieces. And as I do that, the cheese is going to melt eventually. It should only take about 5 minutes or less. Tip here for you, when you're done cooking the chorizo, make sure to drain the grease out. You can do that by putting it through a colander, or even just dap it in the cast iron skillet with some paper towels. Now, if you think that the mixture here doesn't look right, let's talk about it here for a second. So I realized, as I was filming this, I put in more chorizo than I did Oaxaca cheese. That was a mistake on my part. Normally, I do about half the chorizo. I did a pound of chorizo, and the Oaxaca cheese, it comes in 10-ounce increments. So I definitely did more chorizo, but at the same time, if that's your fancy, great. But for me, I like to have more cheese in there. And so normally I just half the 1 pound of chorizo. So that would be 8 ounces of chorizo compared to 10 or 12 ounces of whether it be Oaxaca cheese or whatever cheese you can find in your pantry that is comparable to that, like a mozzarella or a Monterey Jack. So something else to keep in mind here is to serve it warm. You want to make sure that you serve this thing like soon after it gets off the grill, because if you don't serve it soon after you take it off the grill, it's going to get hardened and it's going to be harder to dip into. If you have one of those little warmers, like a hot plate that you can keep at a very low temperature, put that underneath there, help keep it warm. We'll find some more mozzarella cheese and heat this stuff up. Let's see what happens. Thankfully, I already had some shredded mozzarella cheese in my fridge, so I was able to get that out. I probably put in about, I don't know, 1.5 cups worth of cheese there, and I mixed it all up in there to help it melt better. And I let that sit there for a few minutes, and it turned out exactly how I thought it would. Now, I had a little trouble with the entry there on the chip, as you can see, but that's okay. I still pulled through and got that cheese pull. Look at that. So here we are. I probably put in about 10 ounces of mozzarella. So that would give me 20 ounces total of cheese, 16 ounces of chorizo. So more cheese than chorizo, which is the balance that I like. Enough talking. Now we start eating. That's a lot of cheese. So as you can see in that video, when I was dipping, the chip broke. Now keep in mind, this is thick cheese. So this is a thick dip. So you want to use thicker chips. Like, you know, I use some, I thought I was using some thicker tortilla chips. And normally you can do that if you put enough support behind it. Like maybe put a finger or two at the tip of the tortilla chip when you dip it in. See those corn chip dippers like Frito Scoops does them, for example. I know there's some those corn dipping chips you can get at Trader Joe's that my family likes a lot too. You can do things like that. You can do pretzels. You can even use this Queso Fundido as a topping. You can top it on your favorite Mexican dish. You can top it on burritos. You can top it on, you know, tacos. Even put it on your taco salad, because we know those aren't healthy anyway. Well, this is Dan Phelps with Learning to Smoke, signing off, saying hope your days are filled with good times, good friends, and good barbecue. Okay, so here we are. Queso. I get it. All right, this is Dan Phelps with Learn to Smoke, signing off, saying hope your days are good